Hey Rob, how's it going?
Good, Doug. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. So, welcome everyone to coaching session number five. I think we're at number five now. And Rob, you'll have to keep me honest. I think last time we took a look at the templates, really all around content creation. So that was, you know, interactions from starting from like hiring a VA, screening VAs, giving them assignments. This also included any of the actual content templates. So in this case, we're talking about Amazon reviews. So that was any sort of content that you may have written for various niche sites where you're selling Amazon products, all the way to, maybe eventually firing one of the VAs if it didn't work out for some reason. So today we were going to really take a checkpoint to see how all of this stuff culminated into actually using it. So it's really nice to plan all this stuff out, but you never really learn, I guess, the full extent until you actually implement it. So, Rob, is that pretty close to what we're going to do today?
Yeah, we just last time we just had the flow, and then we had templates that went along with it, as well as some specific post type templates. So that's exactly right.
Okay. And before we get started, I remember last time you said it was the like the Thai New Year, so it's really hot there right now, and there's like people are having water fights outside. And
Yep.
so, how did it go?
Good. So I think we talked on the first night of it, and so there was 2 more days. So both days we just kind of went down into the main downtown area, kind of joined in the chaos, and just completely head to toes, soaked in water. But it's really hot, so it was cool. But yeah,
Yeah, pretty fun. I mean, do you have to like bring Ziploc bags with you and like put your wallet and stuff in there?
yeah.
Or?
So they sell like all over. Every store's got the little plastic bags for your phones and your wallets, and like it's everyone and everyone's selling these little water guns. So it's crazy.
It's a whole like secondary industry of keeping everything dry. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Um, Tell me about what you did last week as far as the implementation and what happened with all of these templates and stuff.
Sure. So I pretty much just took the flow that we worked on last time and started from right from the beginning. So I had 11 articles that I wanted to outsource, and they were all going to be Amazon product reviews. So I started with my job posting template, which I went to Elance and I posted it, and it basically gave the number of articles, the number of words, and a topic. I didn't go into the specifics of every article at that point, and so per my little I guess process chart, I waited 2 days. I checked back in, and I picked the top three. And one of the biggest things I noticed was a lot of people did not answer the 4 questions that I had, sort of my interview questions. Um, so it made it really, really easy to figure out like who follows instructions, like who's going to be, a writer worth keeping.
Okay.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yes. Yeah, that sounded good.
Okay. From there, I picked the three, and then I have this interview template where it's basically like, hey, you're going to write one article, and then I filled in it was going to be, 600 words was going to be one of my reviews. I did hit one minor snag with Elance, and I'm not sure how this works with Odesk or the other writing platforms, but you can't hire less than a $20 minimum for a fixed Odesk or Elance job. Um, it wasn't a huge deal. I just decided that, hey, I'll have them just write the one article and pay them a little bit more. I figure I'm looking for good writers anyways. It's a small cost to incur
Yeah.
right now. Um, there's workarounds you can do, hourly jobs. But then it's kind of like you have to tell them the exact number of hours, or I could just give them a bigger post in the future, for a bigger assignment, which I can do. But again,
Right.
it's not that big of a concern because really, like I just keep it gives me a chance to see more writers, which is good. So
Right. And what was so it was a $20 minimum. So what was the intended amount that you were going to hire them for this trial job?
and a good point. So part of my template was, or my process was, let's say the 6 articles, which was 6,600 words, they came back with, you know, a $66 offer, right? So I was going to pay them, what is that? 10 dollars for that first article, right? So most of the people were in that $10 to $15 range.
Right.
Um, so I mean, it was like $10 at the most, $5, but yeah.
Okay. Got it. And you may have just mentioned it, but I'll repeat it back. Really for my benefit, but for anyone else that didn't maybe catch this. So you'll put out a job posting for like a big job. Let's use whatever 10,000 words, and then you'll see who applies to that job listing. And then after that, you'll take a look and filter out the people that you don't want to talk to, or in a more positive light, you'll find the people that you want to talk to, and then talk to
Hmm.
those smaller percentage. You'll probably narrow it down to like 3 people or so. Is that what you did? For how many?
Yeah, and it was 3 this time, and I think that's flexible. I think it depends on
Sure.
the assignment.
Okay, so you narrowed it down from a large pool of people down to 3, partially based on following directions, i.e., the people didn't answer your questions that you asked in the interview template, I guess. So you have 3 people, and then you said, "Hey, there is this bigger piece of work, but we're gonna just do a test drive to make sure we could work together well, and I'm gonna give you a segment of it, and it'll be this $20 minimum," which it turned out to be the $20 minimum. You were bound by the terms of service of Elance, and that way you'll be able to get a test drive, like a real test drive, for 3 people, and it'll cost you $60, but really that's the cost of doing business to interview people in a proper way, right? So,
Sure.
okay. And then you're going to end up with, it'll be awesome if you end up with 2 people that are really good. You're going to have to, just pick one. And then you'll have someone as a backup in case things go well. You want to hire them for another job, perhaps. But okay, so before I go on any further, does that summarize your process?
So far, perfect. Yep.
Okay. And then the good result is you got the test drive, you have real work that they submitted for your specific needs rather than looking at their portfolio, which may or may not be, very accurate. And maybe a beautifully written piece in their portfolio, but maybe it was not even what the person wanted. So, so it's really important to go through this process.
Right. And in addition to that, like it may be a good piece, but maybe they're not perfect for your niche. So
Right. Okay. I think I am up to speed. So you work through the snag of the $20 minimum, and then what happened next?
So the candidates, all 3 of them actually accepted the interview and they were ready to start writing. One guy, he dropped out. He wrote back. He was like some legal profession writing before, and he was just starting this. And he said he had never tried any of the products and that he could not write the reviews. So I,
Okay.
he's out.
Yeah. Made it easy on you. Okay.
Yeah, and so I had 2 candidates, and I reviewed their work, and I would say their articles were pretty much at the same level. I was happy with both of them actually, but the one was kind of at the higher price. The guy who backed out was in the medium, and then there was this gal at a lower price, and with the same work, she was just too hard to resist. I picked her. I then used a template to show her the full assignment, and she is in the middle of it as of like 24 hours ago. So
Okay. And I guess, I mean, were there any snags or anything notable, like in hiring her or sending her the first template or anything?
Um, there were things just minor that I would switch in my templates as it happened. And I can't think of the exact example right now, but um, just little things when you're actually doing it, the real world, like things are kind of different than when you planned up. So just minor tweaks to some of the templates and wording, things like that. But
Got it. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, we won't know until you get the result, but I guess one thing to add as far as like tweaking it for the future, obviously try and keep notes of whatever you notice, but it'll
yeah,
be really good, especially if you're going to work with this person more, um, is to just ask them what they would change in the template, like if anything was hard to understand, especially after maybe you'll get some content back and you say, hey, can you tweak this? And they would say, well, it's not really clear in your template. So you could go back and really get feedback from the people that are using it, and that'll be really useful information to integrate. So
yeah. And I was totally thinking about that. I just think the assignment we have going out right now with Amazon reviews is pretty straightforward, but I think I'm really going to use the feedback of the writer when it comes time for my next assignment, which we can talk about a little bit. It's going to be pretty much an entire niche site, so I'm sure there's going to be questions and tweaks along the way.
okay, gotcha. Um, Interesting. So before we go to that, which I do want to talk about a little bit, so how many words is this initial assignment, like the full word count?
Sure, it's 6,600. I think it's each article is 600, and there's 11 articles.
Okay,
Is that 6,600? Yeah.
yeah. And,
Okay.
and then, sorry, there's we have the windows open and a door open. So like a fly came in. My dog is trying to eat it. So if you hear like chomping, Birdie's trying to catch a fly. Okay. Or if you see me looking away, it's just because I'm watching the action over there. Sorry about that. Okay, so 6,600 words, and just curious, can you tell us how much you're paying for that? You don't have to, just curious.
Well, I will, but I will actually break down kind of, I'll go a step further and I'll break down what I expect to pay and then the offers I got.
Okay,
Um, so, because Amazon review, if it was part of like a big niche site and the reviews were in there, I would probably pay a higher dollar because those big posts, I end up paying more. But because it's such a streamlined process for these low reviews, I was expecting to pay about a penny and a half to 2 cents a word. So for 1,000 words, that would be $15 to $20.
okay. And that's pretty good. I mean, it's not bottom dollar. You could get US writers and stuff like that. And is this a US based or native English speaking writer rather?
This is, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And you were going to
Um,
give me more detail, so go ahead. You got it.
yeah, and there's, I was thinking back. I've worked with this writer before, and I actually sent her a message just saying, "Hey, I'm getting ready for this big niche site uh, project. That's the name of your website."
Yeah.
And she actually is at 3 cents a word, so she's pretty expensive, but she's really, really good. Um, so I'm just kind of giving you a range of what I would pay. Again, that's for like those articles, huge 2,500 word articles where I really want the research to be huge. These Amazon reviews are not as complex. So, anyways, there was a offer for $120, which is about 2 cents a word. The guy who backed out was at 100, so somewhere in that middle zone. And then the lady that I ended up picking was $60. So she was just a smidgen under a penny a word, which is, we're going to see how she does, but her first article was pretty on point. I don't know if that was
Gotcha.
her just trying to steal the job.
Right, right. Well, and did you, I can't remember, in the template or the job posting, did you say, hey, this is great for new writers. I give very good reviews, blah, blah, blah.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Yep.
is this $60 bid a new writer or a new review? Go ahead.
A little bit, yeah. She's got 5-star reviews on like I guess 5 people, so that's pretty new, right?
You know what, I haven't looked in a while, but I think so. I mean, a lot of times you want to see, you know, more than a couple dozen reviews is pretty nice, but obviously you have to put in some time to get that many jobs and get reviews. So, okay, well that's cool. And I think, I mean, do you have any theories, other theories about why her bid was so much lower than some of the others?
I don't. I mean, I would say she appears like a stay-at-home mom, uh,
Okay,
but she's an ex-teacher, so I just got to see what her work's like. But like I said, her interview article was fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to it at this price.
got it. Okay, well, and you know, I one of the last writers that I had was actually working on like PBN articles, so you know, the actual, you know, quality of the content was not so important to me. However, I
Hmm.
did want an English speaker working on it. It ended up being a like brand new contractor. This was like her very first job. I mean, she has like a master's of fine arts, like a MFA. She's like a professional writer, and like way better writer than me. But she's writing for like PBNs, and of course she has like no idea what a PBN is, really like any of the stuff that you and I are talking about. So far beyond what I mean, she just knows I want some articles written about whatever. Um,
Hmm.
anyway, so I was paying, I think like $6 or $8 for a 500 word article, but I mean, it's PBN quality, right? So I was like, just churn it out. I just make
Yeah,
sure the
whatever.
grammar is okay,
Yeah.
and put in these links that I'm asking you to, and then we're good to go. But anyway, I contacted her later, like only maybe 4 or 6 weeks later or something like that. And she had raised her prices for, I think it was like uh, 10 cents a word. So that's like $100 for a 1,000 word article, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
anyway,
Yeah.
I feel I should have the calculator up. I feel like an idiot. We can't do it's like 1 times 1 with some zeros. But anyway, the point is, if you get someone early on, and I was doing like each one of these sets of articles that I was working with her on, it was like 3 articles, and then she'd get some reviews. 3 articles, she'd get some reviews. So she ended up getting like 8 jobs from me or something. 5-star reviews, good feedback. I would always do a comment. So like it was a win for me, and it was really good for her. I should have had her write better stuff. I mean, for me, but anyway, the point is, I think that that could be it, and that's awesome because you're getting good content, hopefully, for you know bargain
Hopefully, yeah.
price. Okay, so anything else to add on the this section where you've hired a writer, you've gone through the interview process. Anything to add?
No, I think I stressed it last time, but you can only plan so much, and then you do it, and once you do it, you really figure out how close you are and whether it makes sense in the real world. So,
Okay. Do you think you could have like pushed it out sooner to get that real world feedback, or did we pretty much made it happen as quickly as you could have?
in terms of from our last call to where we are now,
Um, yeah, generally, or I guess could you have done maybe like I'm just thinking speed of implementation, right? So could you have done fewer templates and then like gotten like certain pieces out the door faster? Or I mean, really, would you have done this any differently to make it faster? Do you see any gaps that we could have closed up?
Um, no, there was, I could have had it, 1 or 2 days faster. I let the interview, I gave him like 2 days, to finish the article. So I was a little, that I wasn't prepared for. I was just like, oh, I assumed the interview would come back pretty soon, and I guess I got to hold them to a little tighter standard. But no,
Gotcha.
I'm pretty happy with the flow and how it went.
Okay, cool. All right, your next big assignment, you said you're doing a full brand new site. Sounds like maybe there's no content. So why don't you tell us a little about that one?
Yeah, so I have a niche site all planned out. It's going to be somewhere in the 25 or 20 to 25 article range initially, ballparking for 30,000 words of content. And I took a look at basically, I know what the titles, what the articles are going to be about, and I tried to create templates for all of those for the fact that my next site or my next site after that will probably rely on them. So I'm ready to go. I just have to fill in the blank with what the niche is and some things for each template that I need to just put in there. Um, but it could be a full blown site done for me, and I've never really done that. So this could be pretty huge.
Okay, cool. And so previously you would have written most of that content?
Either written most of it, or I might have had the big articles outsourced, but I didn't have a template that could be sort of a one size fits all that allows the writer to go in and sort of fill in the blanks. I
Got it.
had to like sort of create the categories and the research every time. And for me, it was a huge mental block. Like I would get stuck at starting niche site because I was like, there's so much energy involved in this process, and it would kind of like block me out.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. And are you thinking you'll hire the person that's working on your stuff right now in the middle of an assignment, hire a new person, or hire like the person that's working plus a new person to get the 30,000 words done faster? Or what do you think? I gave you a lot of options, but you can tell me whatever whatever you're thinking.
Yes. So I can answer the one with the current writer because she came in at a really low rate. For some reason, even if her stuff is great, like I'm very hesitant to hire her because this is needs to be very detailed research, and I just don't know for that price. And she's in the U.S. I
Hmm.
just don't know that I would feel comfortable with someone at that rate. And
Gotcha.
you want to get the lowest rate, but it's like you can't even make that work for like even a halfway decent wage. Like I don't want to give that to you.
Right. Right. Yeah, there's like the perceived quality based on price. And the other thing is one experience I had is like the quality may be good, everything may be fine for a couple weeks, and then someone will disappear. And that's the sort of thing that can happen. And you never hear from them again, ever. And of course, you could end the contract, but how long do you wait to hear back? Sometimes emergencies happen, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, at a certain rate, people would tend to treat it more professionally. So, this is a good point.
Yeah, and just if you take the difference between a 600 word Amazon review, right? Like it's pick a feature. You basically are summarizing what people say, the 5-star reviews, the 1-star reviews. Like it's very systematic. Like it's
Yeah.
not that hard to do. And then when you're writing a 2,000 to 2,500 word article that encompasses an entire niche,
Mhm.
uh, I'm going to want to pay. So I'm going to want to. I think I'm going to just hire one person, but I don't know if that's too much. What are your thoughts?
I would, oops,
But
sorry.
I want it to be kind of, I want the same sort of voice behind it.
Sorry. Okay, that's a good idea. Now, as far as the voice for those long articles, I do like that idea. It may be it may be interesting if you could get your cheaper writer to do some of those, because you're going to have some basic 600 word reviews, right? So get her to do some of those, and some of the longer articles, the the ones that you feel are more critical, you can find another writer that maybe cost a little more, and where the research is a little bit more in depth. So you probably already thought of that, right?
Yeah, so I'm thinking about
Yeah.
yeah reviews and then yeah the bigger articles at the higher rate. So maybe a combination where you're not giving everything to one.
Yeah. And as far as like the voice, I mean, do you think it's impossible to answer unless you have like, you know, analytics data behind it, but what's the likelihood of someone reading multiple articles on your site where they would have where they would notice like, wow,
Yeah,
the writing shifted a whole lot. Um, I mean, do you think that's highly likely or not very likely?
I guess with a niche site, not too likely. Um, but something that I'm still concerned about with this process as I do this entire niche site is this site or this niche has a lot of like so my main article is like 2,500 words best something, and then there's like a lot of meaty like sub best like
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? But so it's not there aren't a ton of reviews, so there's going to be a lot of critical articles, and what I worry about is how am I going to pick these top products in each and then have them overlap. So if someone were on one page reading about this product and then on another
Yeah.
page, like a completely different spin on the product. But I guess to your point, it depends. Like
Yeah.
most people on a niche site just see one page and they either
Right.
take action or they leave.
Right.
So
Um, yeah, and I actually recall, I think I had, I think maybe I had like some inconsistencies on a particular site that I had on the main page versus like the specific review page. And someone commented, it's like, hey, which one is it? Is this a good product or a bad product? I mean, it didn't vary that much. I mean, they were picking on like one specific thing. But yeah, I mean, some people that are really into it may read that in depth, but that's in my opinion, small risk. And if you can, bottom line, I would spread it out. Pick the two writers, maybe hire one for like 20,000 words, the other one for like 10,000, or whatever split makes sense. But you can allocate it so you can essentially finish the content in half, not necessarily half the time, but 60% of the time, which is kind of cool. Have all that written out, and it would have taken you 2.5, 3 weeks of constant writing. Like you'll come back in 2 weeks and it'll all be done.
in
So
addition to 2 or 3 weeks of angry Rob who has to write.
yeah, yeah, no kidding. Um, so okay, so I think we're coming up towards the end of the time here. So I think next time, well, we may need a couple weeks. You'll notice there's an empty space behind me where a kegerator used to be. I'm actually moving out of this condo that I live right now, so I'll need some time for for myself. So we may have to skip a session, but it also sounds like you have a few things that you're working on. It'll be good to give your writer some time, who has the current assignment, to finish that out to see the outcome. And then it sounds like you may need a couple weeks to actually hire the other writer and see how that goes. Now, that'll be like a big test and the sort of the secondary implementation, so we could see how all that template work has done. In addition, is there anything else that you want to start thinking about looking at in the future? For example, one of the things you brought up before was like link building and making sure you had that process outlined also.
Yeah, so kind of read my mind. Um, haven't really got a good grasp on link building and staying true to a process and staying in a in a timely manner. So I have some sites that need a little bit of a push. So I'd like
Okay.
to get that going as well.
Okay. Cool. So I think what we'll do is probably do another checkpoint in like a week or two or three or whenever we can we can make it work with my schedule, and then and your schedule too. Your schedule is just as important as mine. Um, so we can think about the link building. And honestly, I mean, it's the same process we did before. Just fill in link building where content was before. You're going to map all of this stuff out. You're going to talk about what you used to do, what you're going to do, and then figure out who's supposed to do it. So that's the nice part with the project management. We're not doing anything new. We're just like plugging in a new thing, and you'll think about that instead of content. So
But why is it so hard for me to do it on my own?
I don't know. Well, it's hard for me too. So apparently someone really wants to get a hold of me here. So um, okay, I think that's all we need to do today. Do you have any final thoughts before we adjourn?
No, but I'll keep you guys posted with the big niche site hire out.
Okay, very good. And yeah, maybe we'll do just a quick update faster than we get to the actual meaty stuff of link building. But yeah, yeah. So everyone stay tuned. There's a lot more to come with this coaching sort of program here. So, all right, thanks, Rob. And we'll catch up soon. See ya.
Sounds good. See ya.